it may
Mm.
be like alt season coming. I think if that does get approved during at that time, which we're not saying it is, we obviously have no idea. There'll probably be some fake tweet the day before and then it'll be released. But maybe Gary's got
How
his
was there no, how was there no investigation after that? Like, how was nobody fired?
none.
How was that not like massive manipulation in the market?
Hope
Just
Gary has
BS.
2FA activated this time. It's massive market.
Hopefully they learned.
But yeah, so it could be
So
quite
funny.
positive also for altcoins on the other side of
Maybe.
that. I mean, even looking at that astrology, I mean, I do think it is primarily for Bitcoin, the way it talks when you're talking about values, when you're talking about long-term investment, when you're talking about innovation, that for me
Yeah.
speaks Bitcoin, but there are a lot of crypto projects as well that align with that too. And so yeah, I keep an eye on those, especially as we move into Gemini season, which is more Mercury orientated. And I think we'll definitely see some, AI is going to be an interesting narrative for sure, as it already has been. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I think projects like that. But I think it's also like being able to seek out projects that actually are innovating, that actually are creating new
That part.
tech. They're not just marketing. And yeah, that kind of just comes with experience to be able to spot those a little better. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
but
I, I
we
just
sorry, carry
I
on.
would just add, no, that's okay. I would just add to the Gemini like season that you're talking about as well, that it is ruled by Mercury, so the communication. I fully agree with DeFi, and I think that DeFi is something that is quite favored by Gemini and Gemini season.
Yeah,
I also feel like Gemini, because of that communicative side, like I'd probably see like that uptick in like a lot of like news and tweets or X posts, whatever we call them now. But also then like with adaptability, because I feel like Gemini is such an adapting sign.
yeah.
And I could see how this will be a period of time where a lot of businesses or even governments will continue or fasten their adaptability of not maybe just Bitcoin, but the crypto market as well. So I think that will be big for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that too. And yeah, so I mean, Jupiter enters Gemini on May 26th. So I think this is like quite an interesting one again. We're always
Yeah.
looking, we're always interested in what Jupiter's doing. Like
Yeah.
it's sort of an important factor for us. So, as you said, Gemini is an air sign ruled by Mercury, really focused on communication, information, adaptability, intellect. And again, Jupiter, we already said expansion, growth, optimism, abundance. And so this really represents like opportunities for higher learning and philosophical outlooks. So when Jupiter changes signs, it shifts its focus and influence to the characteristics and domains governed by that new sign, which is Gemini. So really focused on information and communication, emphasis on the exchange of ideas, data, and information, and learning adaptability, like opportunities for learning new skills and adapting to changing circumstances. So, like, what does that look like? It always makes me think of like what Andrew really focuses on, what he talks about a lot about the infrastructure, crypto infrastructure, who is building the infrastructure, rather than just like, oh, we've got this NFT project that's like a dog photo and it's going to change the world. It's like that's just marketing. There's not real
Yeah.
innovation there. Now, I do believe the technology behind NFTs is innovative, but I think in, the form that we saw it like last season, that wasn't really innovation. You've got to be able to decipher during Gemini season, that
Kind of same.
to decipher, yeah, same but different. But yeah, but you've got to be able to decipher, like there is going to be an uptick in information coming at us, and so you've got to be able to read between the lines of like what actually is innovation, what's a new idea, or what's just spin. And I think that's going to be important. So also focus on networking and connections. So building networks and building connections. So I think a focus on communities and things like that as well. We probably will
Yeah.
see increased market activity. So just that dynamic nature of Gemini combined with Jupiter's expansive energy can really lead to like increased trading activity. And a bit more volatility than we saw in Taurus season.
Yeah.
And so like information driven sectors may see significant growth. I also think in terms of Bitcoin, news, rumors, and information will really play a critical role in Bitcoin's price movement. So staying updated is like important. And again, like look at where you're getting your news from. Like don't take financial advice from CNBC. Like it's not
Or Jim Cramer.
yeah, he's definitely a sell signal. Opposing a contrarian signal for sure. Yeah, so Jupiter entering Gemini really brings this wave of information-driven energy to the markets. And so for Bitcoin, this translates into volatility, as I said, and a focus on the innovation and the technology side of Bitcoin. So there's a lot happening in the macro markets at the moment, and the bond markets, which I will talk about a little bit later. But this is like why we shift our focus to the actual like innovation of Bitcoin, why it was created, the problems it solves. And so I think that again is going to become a focus. And I'm hoping in Gemini season that is really communicated quite rapidly and people get it, people understand it, rather than just like, is it going up? Is it going up? There's more to Bitcoin than that, and you're missing the point if that's all you care about. So yeah, I think that's an
Yeah.
interesting one.
I think that this Jupiter transition is so important.
Mm.
And right before that, and connecting it to the full moon on the 23rd, is that we have Jupiter and Venus that are conjunct. They are right on the 29th degree of Taurus, right before they make that shift. And so I think it's important to touch on that as well. And especially on that 23rd precisely,
Yeah.
they are both Venus and Jupiter are trined with the natal Jupiter of Bitcoin. So this adds to that expansion, prosperity, and just growth. And what like a trine is, we have to think about that it's a positive, it's a harmonious aspect. And while it's on the 29th degree of Bitcoin's or sorry, 29th degree of Taurus in now the 11th house, this is a critical degree which creates like an extra kind of like, it's like a powerful like setup for Bitcoin. Like it's really preparing for that 11th house theme of value and community. So I feel like it's a key turning point, and that's what we like to use astrology for also, like to really like find those dates that are going to be those turning points. And I feel like this is one of them. And so that then as it transitions into Jupiter transitions into Gemini, and we also have Venus transiting into Gemini at the same time. Venus is going to be in Gemini for a shorter period of time because it's a more inner planet that moves faster, whereas Jupiter is going to be sitting in there until the 9th of June 2025. So we've got a nice year long of this energy